Maisha's AI twins. Before you take a look at this pre-recorded inspirational video, I want to personally invite you to class tonight. This class will shape the way you show up for the new year and beyond. Meet us in the AI twin class. The link is in the description and the Instagram bio. Happy hair growing.
Okay, what's up, everybody? It's Maisha Edmond, licensed cosmetologist in the state of New York. I am also your very most favorite trichology mentor and trichology strategist, business strategist. I'm super excited to be here with you. I hope everything is well. A little bit of housekeeping. I am live on TikTok. Okay, as my daughter says, or is it? Whatever, I'm live. I'm also live on Instagram, Trichology 911, Trichology_911. I'm also live on Facebook, Maisha Edmond, and I'm live on YouTube. I'm all the lives. I am all the way live. Okay, super excited to be here. Just wanted to talk to my trichologists and maybe somebody else. Who knows? We don't know, but yeah, I'm like super excited because today is just like a brand new day for you to really get your stuff together. Okay. And we are here to get our stuff together. If you hear a little clicking in the background, I'm in my basement and I'm also doing laundry. Okay. So there's that. So the dryer is working. Okay. So I really wanted to just come in here and just kind of talk to you a little bit about your leading. So my topic is stop proving that you're needed, right? And start leading like you are. Okay, because this might hurt us a little bit, especially as trichologists. I'm currently running the group mentorship 2025 boot camp. And we have conversations like this, especially on our live nights. So I want to encourage you to stop proving that you're needed and start leading like you are. Okay. All right. So let me tell you something that might kind of sting a little bit. And I have a few camera situations going on here. And I have notes. Okay. But I want to say something that might sting a little bit. Most trichologists and others are exhausted, not because the work is hard. Okay, it's not because the work is hard, but it's because they're still trying to prove that they deserve to do it. Okay, well, I wrote that down so I can read it again. Most trichologists and others are exhausted, and not because the work is hard. You were built for the work. You know what you're doing. You know what you're saying. You've done all the tests, you've done all the experiments, you've done all the things, right? You have all the experience. It's not because the work is hard, it's because you're still trying to prove that you deserve to do it. You're still trying to prove why you should be a trichologist or why you should stand in the space that you are, that you're in, why you deserve to be there. And, it's almost like you're trying to prove to yourself, right, why you should be there. And so we say we want freedom as trichologists. We say we want freedom and we want leadership, but deep down, we still crave validation. I'm just talking. I'm going to just talk to the trichologist today. And you know what I'm saying? If it hits you, then it hits you, right? Move your foot. But we are still craving validation. We still need somebody to say, you're doing a good job. And that mindset is the invisible wall between being needed and being known. Okay? It's the invisible wall between being needed and being known. So today, I'm not here to talk to you about products and courses and systems and mentorships and all that other stuff. I'm here to talk to you about emotional permission. Emotional permission. And what it really takes to stop proving and start leading. Because I can't tell you how many times I tell mentees and just groups of trichologists and even like one-on-one, like, you that girl. You her. You have all of the experience, you have all the things that you need to really show up. But we're not doing that because we're still craving validation from people that are not qualified to give it to us. Okay? So let that sink in. There is an addiction to validation, right? And I'm talking to the trichologist, right? There is an addiction to validation. Let's be honest. Many of us, we confuse busyness with purpose. If we're booked out, we feel successful. If people can't get an appointment, we feel important, right? You just so busy. I remember speaking to somebody who was like, I got such and such amount of assistance, and this one do this. And I mean, I've had several conversations with different people. Oh yeah, I got this and I got that. And it's like, just because you busy, like your busyness does not really align with you in your purpose, right? Just because you're booked out, it doesn't mean that you are successful. So you really got to figure this out, because that's not leadership. That's proof chasing. And so it's a survival response. And somewhere along the line, we start believing that our own worth lives in other people's demand for us. Your own worth does not live in other people's demand for you. Because you could have 3 smooth clients, right? And really be doing the thing, right? And then you could have 300 clients and be worn out and, oh, I have to open my books for January and I'm just so tired. And it's like you still feel empty. So I want you to ask yourself, if your chair was empty, and I wrote this down, if your chair was empty for 30 days, would you still believe that you were valuable? If not, then it is time to build what your confidence stands on. Okay? And I want you to reflect on this. Validation is rented and ownership is earned. Validation is rented and ownership is earned. When you need the validation from others, it's rented. You can make them mad tomorrow, and then you're not that girl. You not her, right? But when with ownership and you owning who you are, it is earned. You showing up, you doing the things that you need to do. All of that is earned, right? And so that's a really big thing. So let's talk about going from being a technician to a thinker, right? As a trichologist, when I started seeing results in my own business, it wasn't because I worked harder. It was because I started thinking like a strategist, right? Really using my critical thinking. And being a trichologist is not just about treating hair, right? Because we do that, right? But it's about translating science into systems that restore people's confidence, right? So do you have systems? Do you have something in place that is a system that you can repeat it and that you can use? And when you have systems, it's literally little pieces of, the process that you string together, right? So if something breaks, you can take that one thing apart or one thing out and you don't have to dismantle the whole thing. So being a trichologist, again, is not about you just treating hair. It's like translating science into systems that's going to restore the confidence and the hair, right? And that's intellectual leadership. So when I'm telling you to stop proving that you're needed and stop leading like you are this person. You are the trichologist, like you are the solution. And I tell people this all the time. No, you are the solution. And that's what separates us from being just booked to being respected. Okay. Here's another anchor phrase that I wrote down. Let me see. You're not just the hands, you're the head. You're not just the person that is doing the stuff, right? But you are literally the person that comes up with why it's going to work. And that's why I love to teach case studies, right? Because I'm challenging you to think beyond the bottle, think beyond the box, think beyond the last tool that you purchased. You're not just the hands, you're the head. You're the one that decides, okay, how is this going to work? How am I going to get this client from point A to point Z, right? So the next thing I just want to tap on is permission to be paid for perspective. Okay, let's talk about money. Trichologists, let's talk about money, because this is where most of us get quiet, which doesn't make sense, because you know how much you paid for cosmetology school, you know how much you paid for trichology, you know how much you paid for these tools. If you gather together all those tools and products and courses and classes, like, you would be standing on like a whole bunch of money. I have a laser right now that cost me $5,000, not including the shipping, right? Yes, it does all the things, but I wouldn't even be able to use that if I didn't have, the perspective, if I didn't have what I needed to even use it. I would just have a big, giant $5,000 paperweight. So you give your perspective away like it's common knowledge. You give it away like it's common knowledge. People could go up in your inbox and they could send you pictures of their spots and their issues, and they do all of that, and you just answering them, right? And I get it. You want people to feel like, oh, I'm giving value, but there's a difference between giving value and just giving away like your entire everything, right? So you give away your perspective like it's common knowledge, but it's not. Your perspective is your product. How you would handle a certain situation as it relates to hair loss, as a trichologist, as a healthy hair care specialist, and a practitioner, that is your product. You earned it through years of trial, through years of study and service, even if it's months. You earned it because you have literally done this thing for an amount of time. You have like put the money into it. You have put, all that passion into it. When you undercharge, that's not humility. Okay. I'm just talking to the trichologist. When you undercharge, that's not humility. It's hesitation. And hesitation is expensive because you don't need to earn the right to charge more. You need to accept that your wisdom is value. Okay. Your wisdom is value. Your wisdom is value. If in the chat, somebody just say, my wisdom is value. My wisdom is value. Yeah, you don't have to earn the right. You don't have to say, well, if I sell 3 of these, if I get 50 clients to do this first, then I'm gonna go up. If I get, yes, wisdom is value. If I get 3 people to like this, then it's up from there. Then I'm gonna just go ahead up. No, you don't have to do that. You've already proved to yourself when you went to school, when you decided to buy your first tool, when you invested in your first, products, when you decided, I'm not just going to the beauty supply store. Let me get into let me see a distributor, right? Or when you went to trichology school and you decided, you know what, I'm gonna do more than just tell a client, drink water and come get this protein treatment, right? So you don't need to earn the right to charge more. You have to accept that your wisdom is value. It's value. And if you stop charging for your time, no, if you stopped, I wrote this down. If you stop charging for your time and start charging for transformation, how would your business look? Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. If you stop charging for your time, because we behind that is my time. But if you stop charging for your time today and started charging for your transformation, how would your business look? What would it look like? What would it look like for you for everything that you know? And I'm not sure, don't like, come on now. You know, if you got the wisdom, you know if you got it. So we're not talking about beating people in the head. We're talking about the fact that you are providing transformation. So if you stop charging for time as a trichologist and you really started charging for transformation in anything that you do in a service business, if you stop charging for time, oh, I get, $3 an hour, I get, whatever, or, you feeling good about, I'm making 150 an hour, right? But what if you started charging for the transformation? Do you even know how to pull out the transformation that you are giving people when they are interacting with you and your business and your service? We're talking about trichologists. So let's talk about the myth of being ready. Some of you keep waiting to feel confident before you take the next step. That's a trap. That's a trap. TikTok is a trap. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Listen, it's a trap for you to feel like, I know so many people that I've given strategy to who is like, all right, I'm going to do that, but first I'm going to ABC, right? I'm going to make sure that I do a little more research. I'm going to do this. Now, me as your mentor, right? Or the strategist that you have paid, right? And I'm telling you, listen, I went through this exact same thing that you're going through. I went all around the mulberry bush. I'm telling you, all you have to do is this. Position yourself like this, right? I give it to you. And then you say to me, that's such a good idea, Maisha. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a little more research. What? Because you're believing the myth of getting ready. Like, I got to be confident. I got to feel like I'm confident. That's a trap. Confidence doesn't show up until you after you already acted on it. I think I went live last week and I was saying something to that effect. But confidence does not show up until after you are already acting on what you're supposed to be doing. You're not going to feel that, because this is the thing. The more that you stay back and try to figure out, all right, oh yeah, this is the plan, and I'm gonna be confident. I'm not saying don't plan, but I'm saying don't collect information. Stop collecting, information and opportunities just so then you can say, okay, so now I'm ready because I got this stacked up and I know this and I know that. What happens to the information, or what happens to the knowledge and the wisdom that you're able to provide because you already tried and failed, or you tried and you succeeded, and you know that there's like a glitch in that, and you want to do something better or do something more, right? So confidence is not going to show up until you start moving. It's not going to show up until you really start using the things that you learn. We all know a career student. And there's nothing wrong with learning. I'm learning all the time. I love a good class. I love a good hands-on a little course, right? But then at the same time, if I never prove it, if I never use the information, I am not going to be effective. Trichologists right now who are leading, they aren't more gifted than you. They're more decisive than you. Okay, see, now y'all want me to preach. They're more decisive than you. They have made a decision. What did I say the last time? The decision is killing all other options. You have to kill all other options. They are not better than you. They are not greater than you. They started though. They started. So we sitting here and we're playing these games with ourselves, right? And if you a church girly, then you're going to convince yourself that the Lord just didn't really want me to do that right now. And the Lord didn't open up the way right now. He didn't say it right now. I didn't get the confirmation. But that's not That's not what it is. People are not more gifted than you. They're making decisions. While you still hemming and hawing, they're making decisions. They didn't wait to feel ready. They built it while they were afraid. And I know that's very cliche, right? Do it afraid, do it scared, and all that other stuff. But it's true. How long have you said you were going to do ABC and you've done nothing? How long has it been that oh girl, I'm gonna do this, and you meet somebody else and they inspire you, and you meet somebody else and they inspire you, and then you inbox this one and they give you the game and they give it to you for free. Oh my God, thank you so much for just telling me that, and now I'm gonna just go and do it, and I'm gonna go and use it, and I'm just so excited. You do all of that and you still do nothing. Why? Because you have a problem with decision making. It's not that you're not gifted, it's not that you're not anointed, it's not that you're not in the right position, it's that you won't make a decision. And what kind of decisions do we make? Because it's bigger than, oh, do I decide to just go and get me a chair outside and whatever, or do I decide to go live or whatever? Sometimes the decision is, okay, do I want to be broke? What does legacy look like for me? I didn't have legacy. I'm not from legacy, but I have children, or I have a child. And you're waiting for what? I remember years ago, I had wrote this letter to my kids. This was just bonkers. Just go with me, child. I wrote this letter to my kids, and I was like, it was just so sad. Child got me a little notebook, and I was writing down all the reasons why I didn't make it. I was already deciding that, I didn't make it and that I'm not going to be great in this whole thing because, and I was saying, dear children, the reason why I didn't accomplish ABC is because, when I was younger, people used to call me ugly and they made fun of my lips, and my mother was on drugs, and I don't know my father, and such called me ugly, and such called me stupid. And I'm talking about tears on the tears on the paper. I'm weeping, I'm crying, I'm writing this thing out and everything. And I'm like, I just know they're gonna understand, because that's why I'm not nothing, but I'm gonna push y'all to be as great as y'all could be, and blah 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 blah. And I tucked that thing away, and I was weeping and crying. I tucked it in my little top drawer. And I think a few years later, I dug that thing out. And child, I read it, and it was the dumbest thing I ever wrote in my life. Okay, it was stupid, because what I found out was I could tell them, oh, you can make it, you can do it, go on without me, just go on to the day. If I did not make a decision to do things, like me writing this sad letter is not going to help them. You know what, I'm going to go because mommy, she really wanted to do it, but she was just ugly. She wanted to do it, but people said she was dumb. Crazy, right? I found that thing. I got myself together. I ripped it up because I was like, okay, that's a little bit slow. That's crazy, right? And I started to do things. I started to change my perspective. I made decisions. That was a little sidebar. But anyway, you don't need more time. You don't need more time. Stop waiting on the perfect timing. The truth is, you've been ready. You have been ready. You have just been rehearsing fear. I'm talking to trichologists, right? Or whoever. Stop proving that you're needed and start leading like you are. You do not need more time. Stop perfecting. Stop trying to wait on the perfect time. The truth is, you have been ready. You've been ready. You just been rehearsing fear. What if they do this? What if this don't happen? What if that don't happen? What if I don't get this? And what if I don't get that? And what if you don't? How are you going to know? You're already disqualifying yourself before you move. You don't need more time. You need more truth. And the truth is that you plan. And I already know that I got some friends on here that's like, I ain't going to let nobody play in my face. I'm not going to let people play with me, but you playing with you. And we can't have that. So let's go from helper to authority, right? Because let me get off your neck. This is the last thing I'm going to say. Let's go from helper to authority. We were trained to serve, right? And that's beautiful, right? But leadership isn't about serving everyone. It's about guiding the right ones, right? If you are a trichologist and you are helping clients and you kind of like guiding them from this thing with their hair loss and their lifestyle and all that other stuff, right? Then you're guiding them, right? In anything that you're doing, right? It's not just about serving everyone, right? You got to have you're going to niche down, right? You've mastered being helpful, right? You've mastered being helpful. What does that look like? People in your inbox, they hitting you up in the, on the phone, and they texting you, right? And they just, hey, what's going on? And listen, I've been experiencing some shedding and da 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 da, right? And you have mastered being like, oh girl, that's all. Send me over your blood work, child. Let me see. Send me some pictures. Oh girl, that ain't nothing. Go down to the Walmart and get you go to the beauty supply store and get you a blah blah blah, whatever like that, right? And it's like, okay, but you have mastered being helpful. You have, but now it's time to be to master being heard. What are you saying? What is your positioning? You're not stepping away from service. You're stepping into stewardship. How are you stewarding this influence that you have? Everybody got influence. Everybody has influence. Your voice carries weight. Your systems as a trichologist carries healing, but people can't follow what you keep hiding. Okay, I'm done. People cannot follow what you keep hiding. You done created all this stuff. You see somebody else come up, I made that. Look right here. Now we got to look through your notebook, and we got to look at all these different things because you created something that you ain't put out. And then you look and you're like, well, she ain't doing it right, because if I was her, I would have, but you're not her. You didn't make a decision. People cannot follow what you keep hiding. So you've already earned the right to lead. You just haven't given yourself permission to act like it. So tonight, I want you to sit with one question. Where have I been proving instead of leading? Wherever you are right now, you are a leader. If you could do it this morning, it's fine. But I want you to answer, where have I been proving instead of leading? Because the moment you answer that question honestly, everything changes. You just need to decide that you are ready. Everything changes. Your prices change, your posture changes, your peace changes. You don't need another certification or a title to be seen as an authority. You just have to decide that you are the authority. You have to decide. And when you do, you'll watch how your business starts to mirror your belief. That was my TED Talk. Thank you for coming. Have a great day today. Happy hair growing. And I'll see you guys soon.
I know that you were encouraged by that awesome message. We can't wait to see you tonight for our AI twin class. Happy hair growing.